Okay. All right. Well, okay. So last time we left off, a long time ago, by the way, 42 minutes, 42-minute mark. Okay. And we're going to probably cover this until the end of stream. Okay. Because otherwise we have too much segments that I have to make videos for, and I'm going to Kermit. So this is Vaush versus Andrew Wilson. This actually happened a long time ago. Okay. Years ago. But mainly the reason why I want to cover this is mainly because like it's good to point out how bad faith Andrew Wilson is, and it's also fun to make fun of Andrew Wilson. I think that he should be made fun of. I think he's a cringy person, and him. Okay, let's go.
People are happy and feel like they can. Maybe they can have more children. But the idea of like, we need to drop everything right now and change everything. No. Wait, I said I'd tell you. The idea that we need to drop all sensible policymaking and forget about socioeconomics as a concept just so we can pursue this arbitrary goal of inflating the population, creating, by the way, massive resource conflicts, because quadrupling the human population within a century or two would inevitably lead to massive conflict, because those gains would not be distributed evenly across populations, people with different territories that wouldn't be fully settled. So we're causing all these problems for what? If you want to ban abortion, just say ban abortion. Like, don't, it's like,
I already have. Well, but now back to my argument.
No, wait, I didn't say, wait, you said discipline. Discipline. Well, I told you, take one. Discipline is being a man making promises and filling to those promises, okay? So you have to wait a bit longer. Earlier on in your opening statement, you whined about the left and feminism.
Just a gish gallop, Vaush. Let me respond to your point.
Well,
so
hold on.
Listen,
You said,
this is ridiculous. Your initial argument was such.
Guy on the bottom playing Candy Crush. It's so funny, like the way that he looks at the camera, because sometimes it's just like, it's just so weird. He's just such a boomer, man.
Conservatism.
Hang on, your initial argument was such.
I'm pretty sure the last time he was debating Israel with Steven.
You said was this. You said, we already have enough people to sustain. You just made the argument again, by the way. We already have enough people to sustain this, and we can deliver global food because there's plenty of food right
this phone up to his because he's a boomer
right now with the current population we have. But you also agree that the population is slated to go significantly down by the birth rate. You know this. You've conceded that it's true. These two things cannot make sense together. You can't say, why are you advocating a pro-natalist policy when we already have all the people that are required in order to deliver all this food?
There will
his wife is in the
future. Don't cut me off. Didn't cut you off.
You did.
In the future, we're not going to have this population. We can see it in all the trends, including the UN forecast. That's why we need a pro-natalist policy. And you, the materialist, is still arguing against it, even knowing that that's true.
Well, I don't think you have pro-natalist positions. I think that what you're talking about would actually wreak devastation and mass death on an unprecedented scale. But thankfully, it doesn't matter, because what you're saying is gobbledygook. It's nonsense. The idea of like, what's my first policy position? Make more babies. How about this? Take an average American man, good old earnest man, okay?
Is this recent? No, not at all.
How?
In fact, when did this debate happen? This landmark debate in this space happened on September 16th, 2023, or around that date. 2023. Okay, so I would say 2 years ago. No, 1.5 years.
Are your policies going to make his life better? Okay, we're talking about a voter, a good
Vaush out. No, this is like one of his final debates before he retreated back in.
Little boy, how is he benefiting from this scheme to, if we had 30 billion people, then we could feed 30 billion people?
That was not my scheme. You just, again, one more time, you're completely mischaracterizing and strawmanning my position. I never made the affirmative statement that we needed 30 billion people on planet Earth. You just made the thing. You made it up out of the blue so that you could argue with a straw man. It's bad faith tactics, by the way, Vaush, but they won't work.
You aren't making any affirmative
statements.
So
again, I'll go ahead and make the affirmative statement for the policies that I would want to see.
You're talking to an average
I would absolutely be against abortion. That would be number one, and that would be a pro-natalist policy, not an anti-natalist policy. You haven't made an argument for how that would be anti-natalist. That's insane. And then
this guy is the nuts. Okay, he is the nuts of the nuts. He is a nutty guy. He's a nut. Okay.
How this
he ain't gonna say nothing about this at all.
Would benefit streamline America is we need to have workers ourselves here. We need to have a replacement rate for our own population in order to sustain itself. Other populations which we recruit immigrants from, they're also in free fall collapse. You cannot, and you might take issue with the language, but they're in at least a birth rate collapse. You can't endlessly take from other populations which are also in collapse. This is a serious and significant global problem that needs to be addressed. It's beneficial to everybody to address it. Also, if you're just looking at the simple metrics for women are happier with children. Across the board, this is true. They are happier and report their happiness level as being higher with children. There's no study that shows otherwise.
Is that a causative bit of research there, or is it just women with children tend to be happier? Is it causative or correlative? Do you know the difference between the two?
Yeah, but what are you talking about?
Is it causative or correlative? In
this particular case, according to Pew, anyway, it looks like it's both. It's causative and there's a correlation.
Okay, can you tell me what the difference is between a causative and a correlative?
Yeah, one causes and one's a correlatory. There's lots of correlatories, but correlatories.
You know, sometimes when you have to like search up on Google, like you're like, oh, you're like defying X word here. So you type in defying ultimately, and then the Google definition is like when something is ultimate, and you're like,
It can be part of a cause too, Vaush.
Okay, so what in the study indicates that they, in Pew Research polling, this is extraordinary. I've never heard that Pew Research
because they asked them before you had kids, were you happy? And they went no. And then they said, well, after you had the kids, were you
Google, what does readily mean when something is ready?
happier? And it wasn't due to the kids, and they said yes.
What the fuck?
That's how.
Okay, so quick question: do you think it might be beneficial to the happiness of those mothers that they actually chose to have those kids? Like, do you think that a mother who was forced to have a child might be less happy with that child because the abortion was outlawed?
Well, that's not force.
That is forced to have a child right now.
No, that's not
a mother
force.
Can choose to stop complaining about the framing. Do you not understand?
Then stop lying about the framing. It's not forced. Tell me how it's forced.
I'm sorry. Listen, I live in a world of facts and not feelings, and the idea that the state preventing a woman from having an abortion is not forcing them to have the child is just lunacy. I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to your feminine Christian delusions.
Then you need to explain how it is.
No, because it's
a
reframing because you want to argue about abortion, and the God's honest truth is that I just don't care what your opinion is on it. I want you to answer the question. Do you?
I already
answered
your question.
Dude, you can tell that his ego is so fragile because the moment that you have another person, so Vaush he is also bad faith in a lot of his debate tactics. Like, he will ad hom in between arguments. He will ad hom in between arguments in order to belittle the other side. Okay. Which, I mean, serves to because you're not really giving the other side enough like time or opportunity to like call him out on like these ad hominems, essentially, right? Like, he's essentially relying on the fact that, well, if you call him out on the ad hominems, you're gonna look really soy and weak, right? For being so offended at little microaggressions that Vaush is essentially doing, right? He does this all the time. But regardless, okay, I love to see it being done to Andrew Wilson because I don't think Andrew Wilson deserves good faith. I don't think Andrew Wilson is somebody who deserves to have good faith being presented to him in a real way. Okay, but yeah. Anyway,
not force.
So a woman. That's not the question. Do you not understand how a woman who has been forced to have a child, as opposed to choosing to have a child, might be less happy with having that child?
I've already answered this.
My biggest critique of Vaush is that he hyperbolizes too much. Maybe
twice. It's not force.
That's not answering the question.
I'm not sure if he does.
Yeah, it is answering the question. Okay, if it's not, then
you literally can't. The fact that you wait.
We had a moderator in the first place. I almost forgot we had a moderator. I thought this guy down here was just playing like fucking Subway Surfers or some shit.
When the moderator talks, just everyone be quiet. I'm just gonna
go right ahead, Alex.
So the actual question, you don't like his framing of using the word force, which is fine. But the point Vaush is trying to make, don't you feel that babies whose parents didn't really want to have them are going to be more suboptimal to parents whose babies did want to have them? That's actually a larger point. That's the question he's trying to ask you.
Okay, if you're making the correlatory there that there could be some increase in women who are unhappy because they weren't allowed to have an abortion, I can accept that framing.
That was the question that I asked, yes.
Yeah, sure, I can accept that, but who cares?
Oh, well,
it's tangential.
Well, that's interesting because this whole time you've been disingenuously pretending you care about increasing the happiness of women, and now we get that. So, yeah.
It's tangential.
That's my point. I know you don't care about the happiness of the people involved. You just want Christian nationalism because it's the preferred brand of fascism.
No, I'm saying that this particular argument is tangential. Whatever it would be for a reduction in happiness would be negligible in comparison to what society gains by outlawing abortion.
Wait, compared to what society gains? Oh, so you were not actually talking.
You know what's the part that sucks most about like Vaush going on a Fortress arc is that Vaush is like unironically like not that bad of a debater. He is a good debater. Okay, he is a good debater. He's also good at ad homing and inserting microaggressions between arguments. Okay, but ultimately, yeah, he is a pretty good debater, actually.
Christian ethics is a holistic approach to society.
You open this whole thing by talking about what would make people happier, and now when we're on a topic that, well, you're like, oh, well, actually, it would make people less happy, but who cares? Society would gain.
Yeah, I'm not a utilitarian. Happiness is not my ultimate anything.
What you
That's
are
part
then,
of your worldview.
What you are then is a liar, because initially you framed this as a way of increasing people's happiness. What can we do to make people happier? Well, I think they should have children.
No, that's ridiculous. He's saying that this is an added benefit.
Hold on, calm down. It's fine. And then when you're
it's an added benefit,
and then when after much prying, you acknowledge that there is an element of forcing birth that would make people less happy.
No, there's no element of forcing birth.
You're like, well, actually, I didn't really care about that. I know. This is why your ethics are ungrounded. Your axioms.
No, my ethics are the only ones which are grounded. Tell me, what's a util?
Hold on. What do you want to maximize for?
Oh God, and then Andrew will say shit like this. Like he'll always quiz like the opponent on like things that he thinks that they don't know in order to get like a gotcha. So like he's trying to pull a gotcha right now. Vaush, what is a util? What is a what is Hammond's razor? What is Occam's razor? What is Loki's wager? What is blah 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 blah? Like he'll quiz you on like these like fucking debate terms, right? Like these nerdy debate terms in order to like act smart. Like if you don't know the term, it's so cheesy, it's so corny, bro.
I'm not a utilitarian.
God. So wait, what do you want?
For me, for Christian ethics, that would be a sequence of duties and overlap in virtues.
Okay, and making people happy is not one of those duties and virtues?
I just said there's overlap.
Overlap. Okay, so what are they?
Well, overlap is not like it primarily, right? Like that's not a part of it. Like if it means like everything has overlap with pain and suffering as well. Like
like all ethical systems have overlap. Like a utilitarian such as you, there's overlap with duty, correct?
It's not a matter of overlapping. Making people happy is an axiomatic value.
Wait. It's an axiomatic value that there's no duty for utilitarianism?
I don't know what you're referring to when you talk about duty. Utilitarianism isn't very like purgatory when it comes to stuff like that. Duty, it's about maximizing.
It's not. Then tell me what a util is. It's
about maximizing for the values that you have an axiomatic preference towards.
And do people have a duty? Do people have a duty to fulfill?
Vaush, good job. You actually do know what a util is. A util, by the way, okay. Wait, is it? Did you define correctly?
Those utils?
That's what you're referring to when you talk about duty. Utilitarianism isn't very like purgatory when it comes to stuff like that. Duty, it's about,
somehow I know this.
Tell me what a util is. Then tell me what a util is.
It's about maximizing for the values that you have an axiomatic preference towards.
And do people have a duty to
Yeah, okay, that's correct. Utils are a measure. It is a very arbitrary measurement done by people who are utilitarians. Basically, it's a unit of welfareism. It's a unit of happiness, right? Of objective goodness, right? So typically in like some society, you would say like, okay, well, in a society like this, we typically want to be maximizing util. What that means is that you want to maximize the utilitarianism aspect, right? You want the most amount of people to be happy, the most amount of people to be alive and good and well, right? That's what util is. A util is like a arbitrary, measurement for happiness.
Do people have a duty to fulfill those utils?
That's a very
or not happiness, but like objective goodness.
Complicated question. I don't know why.
Because again, anybody who does SA, like the person who does SA could be happy, okay, but like that wouldn't be good, right? Technically speaking.
Because you can't answer the question, can you?
It's philosophy. There's not exactly a right or wrong answer. You have beliefs on
There's no duty to fulfill your utils, Vaush?
Well, it really genuinely depends. Yeah. Could you dedicate like 19 hours of your day every single day to converting one single person and saving them from the fires of hell? You could. That might in fact be a responsibility depending on your sect of Christianity to save those from oblivion, from whether or not you believe in purgatory or damnation or whatever.
Yeah, so is there a duty for people to enforce the utils? Now you're avoiding my question.
Wait, I asked you a question. What do you want?
I asked you one. I answered yours and asked you one. I answer mine.
What do
you
want?
have a duty? You said there's no overlap. There's no overlap is just silly to say. Is there overlap with duties in utilitarianism or not?
I don't understand what you're asking. What time is the plane? The question that you're asking.
No, I'm asking you if you believe that the thing people should do should maximize utility. Do they have a duty then to maximize utility or not?
That
duty
really depends on which subset.
He said duty.
It depends on what you mean by the thing you're asking me. That I asked you to explain what you mean.
If you asked, so let me explain to you what like the concept of ethics is. If you ask me how I root my ethics and what I think people should do, I can answer that. I don't know why you screeching about duty and overlap. I don't think you know what these terms mean. In the
oh no, I know what they mean. Root your ethics.
I need to stop. I'm too immature.
I can't let you run away from what I asked you. What do you want? What outcomes do you want?
I've already told you that my worldview is not based solely on outcomes. That would be utility and consequentialism.
There's a highly masculine logic here. It's my ethics are not tied to reality.
Why is he on this fucking phone? I don't fucking know, bro. Dude, it's so bizarre. Like, isn't this like so bizarre to see? This is such a fucking bizarre like fucking debate, bro. Like, yeah, I mean it's very entertaining, but like the Alex just I can't, bro. Like that is, by the way, this is how grandmas and grandpas like try to operate smartphones.
So what do you mean?
That's why I say he's a boomer.
I said they're not solely tied to outcomes.
So what are you trying?
So here's an example of this. I'll give you an example so that you understand.
It's
and you're going to answer my question.
I don't have an answer.
Hey, Vaush, I just answered yours. Vaush, I'll ask you this directly. Is it immoral?
I'm asking you a question.
Is it immoral for somebody
I need your
to have sex with a dead body? Is that immoral to do?
Do you think it is?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to me why.
Why? Wait, actually, hold on. This is my domain. This is my special attack. Is necrophilia moral or ethical? I love this topic.
I think you have a duty not to do so.
Okay, where does that duty come from?
It's divine command. Now back to where I was.
Divine command?
Oh,
hell no.
Keep running away from them.
Bro really said Sky Daddy told you not to fuck grandma's corpse. What? Never mind. This is more stupid than I thought it would be. I thought that he was gonna give like actual reasoning or something like that. I don't know. The Sky Daddy told you not to fuck grandma. Okay.
Is it immoral or not?
Really?
Did answer your question on this one, so I do think.
Answer mine. Is it immoral to have sex with a dead body or not, Vaush?
Yeah, probably shouldn't do that. Seems bad.
Okay, why?
because I think that if nothing else, like leaving aside the biological answers for that, I think we have very strong cultural precepts of right for the dead. I think that this is really like touchy ground because rights of the dead is complicated because they're not like living people. But there are things even in a utilitarian framework where you can acknowledge that there is a kind of broader cultural respect that we have for subjects that go outside the purview of pure human behavior. So
last question, and then I'll answer.
Well, I just want to know what you want.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I just want to know this.
But then it's like it doesn't matter.
If all things were equal, and a person.
By the way, you can arguably say like, oh well, like technically there really isn't that much bad with like, okay, assuming that you're not going to get any disease, okay, assuming that you're not violating anyone's private property because bodies can be considered private property, I think, due to the family, I think, assuming that you're not violating anyone's culture, assuming that you're not violating anyone's rights or whatever, right? If it's a dead body, it no longer has a consciousness, so technically like necrophilia isn't bad in that instance inherently, like, right? Like necrophilia is not bad inherently, right? Like assuming that you got all of these conditions fulfilled, right? Because I'm essentially trying to push somebody to the point where they are able to admit that, okay, well, it's not that bad, right? But I guess like if you're trying to look, but then just because like you can probably like make that argument doesn't mean that like, you know, things are in a vacuum, right? Because typically if we want to examine things in a more societal context, right, like we have to examine things outside of the vacuum. So yeah, does that make sense? Having sex with a dead body did not negatively affect anybody through utility. There was no negative utils that you could point to. Would you be for it?
No, for it, I wouldn't be for it.
Would you allow people to do it?
Would I allow people to? I think it is unethical in that context still because of rule utilitarianism. Now, if you could stop projecting your kink onto the discussion, I would like.
Why would this be against rule utilitarianism? That's bizarre.
I can't explain all ethical philosophy to you because rule utilitarianism.
I know what a rule utilitarian is. So
then why are you asking me?
Because a rule utilitarian would still have to follow utils. In this particular case, at all thing equal, there is no negative utils which are applied. Your answer should be as a utilitarian to say that that's fine. I don't see how you could get.
Andrew Wilson is so corny, bro. He is so corny.
Because the point of regardless of rule otherwise everything would just be act utilitarianism. The point of rule utilitarianism is that you.
How do you take this guy seriously in any way? He's just so corny.
Have sort of social boundaries and guidelines and.
I'll tell you what. Okay, I have no extreme deference. Or sorry, I don't care about my corpse all that much. I'm gonna be honest, okay? Because I'm dead. If I'm dead, then why should I care about it, right? I don't know. Like if I'm dead, then I'm dead, right? We dig up corpses all the time or whatever. Whatever. If there is a box that says, well, you donate your body to necrophiles or whatever, you know, I'll check that box. Yeah, I'll check that box because my death, my unhappiness with dying, at least is being made to make another person happy. So it's like it kind of balances out.
Ethical expectations that exceed individual assessments of the utility.
Unless they give because those
don't think about it too much.
Give negative utils. So that's why I said all things equal. There's no negative utils.
So I can't explain if you don't understand. Okay, here's a good example. Okay, imagine so it is unethical to punch somebody like out of nowhere. That's generally not good. You shouldn't do that. However, imagine a person had like divine precog and they could know for an absolute fact that if they punch this one random dude on the street, it will actually be good for them because when they go to the hospital for their broken nose, it'll be discovered that they have a relatively benign brain cancer tumor. So in reality, punching them will be a way to help them get treated early and will actually save 30 years of their life. Now, even under those circumstances, if we could know for an absolute fact that the consequence of punching that person would be morally good, I still think it would be morally right for them to be arrested.
And the reason
you
think that is because there would be societal negative utils. So that's why I said all things equal. There's no societal negative utils. Why would it not be okay from your worldview for people to have sex with dead bodies?
If you are detaching this from ethics so much to the point where even rule utilitarianism doesn't have any.
Just by the way, this was originally about like this entire debate was originally about childbirth. Like we're not talking about death here. We're talking about birth, life. Okay, like we're not talking about death. We're talking about like.
You might as well be asking if it's ethical to fuck a corpse in a dream. Like you're asking about something that can't happen in reality. In reality, the consequence.
Actually, that has kind of happened in reality, right? Me fucking a corpse in a dream. I'm just not going to say anything further.
Of rule utilitarian analysis would always apply because you're always subject to the broader.
Do you know what a hypothetical is? A hypothetical is not designed necessarily to be mapped on reality.
This. Can you please just tell me what outcomes or what anything you want to do to reality?
Please. I've already told you multiple times. First thing I would do is stop abortion. Second thing I would do is put a halt on underage people being able to be allowed to have unfettered access to pornography.
Okay, thank you. So no, wait. The ethics I wanted to know. So you said divine command
this would be
theory.
Christian.
Brother, brother, okay? You literally cannot stop anybody from accessing. I'm telling you, bro, if people want to access corn, they will find a way to do it, okay? If people really want it, they'll find a way to do it, especially minors. The more forbidden you tell them something is, the more they'll try like their hardest to find it, okay? Because you told them, oh my God, this is forbidden. And then they'll be like, ooh, so forbidden, huh?
Christian ethics.
Okay, Christian.
Do you need
okay,
me to
so
break those down for you?
So Christian. No, well, yes, please. I want to know what you're trying to do here. So Christian ethics.
So Christian ethics work around virtues and they work around duties.
Okay, virtue
and
ethics.
There is overlap.
Oh yeah, I believe in donating your corpse to necrophiles because I can finally get laid. There you go. Boom.
Outcomes sometimes because
Hell yeah.
duties sometimes lead to outcomes which can be negative, and so you adjust duties accordingly.
What tells you what a duty is?
He's a duty.
This is divine command for us Christians.
Yeah, so what tells you? How do you know?
We would know this through church authority.
Through church authority.
Yes.
So
there's no way, there's absolutely no way Andrew Wilson would still believe this today, considering how the Pope is, right?
Just any old pastor, like your whole ethical system would change?
No, churches are a whole holistic system. There's only two churches which exist: the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. There's a series of
Wait, are you Catholic or Orthodox? Out of curiosity.
I'm Orthodox. There's a series.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wait, when did you convert?
2 years ago.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure.
This is such a sore spot for Andrew, because if there's anything pointing out to his grift, it's this. Okay, so if you guys don't know the context, 2 years ago, Andrew Wilson's, like from that point, 2 years ago from that point is when Andrew Wilson started content creation. Okay, so he started content creation 2 years from that point. Alex, I'll have a loser for 500. What is this term? Who is Andrew Wilson? Alex, what is grifting?
Okay, right.
What does this have to do with anything? Do you have a refutation or not?
Oh, refutation of what argument, of what logic?
That there's only a whole holistic church.
Yeah, I'd say that there are like 1 million Protestant churches. Yeah.
How can a Protestant church operate as a holistic church if they don't recognize church authority?
What is that? They are their church authority. That's the point.
They can't be their church authority because they believe in sola scriptura. They get all of their ethical commands through the Bible alone.
What?
Okay, so hold on really quick. So do you think, so hold on, which is correct then, the Catholic or the Orthodox church authority?
The Orthodox church.
Like that sounds like some Warhammer type shit.
Authority is correct, yeah.
Okay, so not the Catholic. So
even the Catholics recognize that the church authority of the Orthodox is also correct.
Okay, so you agree then with the precepts of the current Pope and all the statements that he's made?
No. They agree with us. We don't agree with them.
Whoa, hold on. He was chosen by God, was he not?
No.
Oh, who? Then where in the Orthodox Church?
Okay, one more time. You're not listening, so just listen and you'll get this. The Catholics agree with us in our church doctrine. We don't agree.
I think Vaush is the only person who can like press Andrew this hard. I think not press Andrew this hard, but like as in talking about making him angry. I think Vaush is probably the only person who can make Andrew Wilson this angry. Okay, enough to chain smoke like 26 cigarettes, which is like a record at this point.
With theirs.
So your doctrines are different.
Yes, we don't have popes,
then,
but they concede that we have correct theology and church authority. Yes.
Even though you disagree with them, how does that work?
We don't agree with them; they agree with us. I just said this 4 times.
So right, you've said it, but it doesn't make sense.
Are you, bro?
If they think that
Guys, I would generally like to.
I want to know. Like this is like.
I just said this.
Oh, where's the fake laugh button? I gotta hit it. Okay, I'm teleporting out of this boss battle so that I can hit it.
4 times.
So I want to know. Like this is like.
I just said this 4 times.
So you said it, but it doesn't make sense. So I'm asking.
How does it not make sense?
I'm trying to explain to you.
Vaush agrees with me, but I don't agree with Vaush. What's wrong with that statement, Vaush?
So considering the fact that churches.
No. What's wrong with that statement, Vaush? Answer my question, Vaush. Stop pivoting from every question I ask you. I just answered all of yours.
Come on. If you get so triggered, we can't even talk. There's no point in talking.
Bro, you just pivot. Stop pivoting. Stop pivoting.
Let him finish answering. Let him finish.
You won't force him answering mine. Only me answering his.
It's hysteria.
So force him answering mine now.
Hang on. I literally did that like.
I just want to ask a question. I just have innocent.
Let's just let him ask his question. I promise you. After that, if he doesn't answer your question, I will force that as well.
Ask Vaush. Why does it make no sense?
Sure. Yeah. Because churches, and I know this for a fact with the Catholic Church, not only are there like different groups of the Catholics, right? It's not just one group, and there are groups of the Catholics who don't agree with the Pope and this, that, the other. But also considering the fact that churches tend to have pretty holistic worldviews when it comes to all of the precepts of their religious text and authority and all the ways in which they should act and all their ethical precepts. The idea that the Catholic Church could just wholesale endorse the Orthodox Church, while the other way around doesn't really work. If the Orthodox Church believes things that are contradictory to the Catholic Catholic Church, the Catholic Church couldn't endorse those contradictory practices. That doesn't help me understand. I'm curious.
They agree with us
on what,
and they agree with our doctrine. We do not agree with their doctrine. So it's like Vaush saying, I agree with everything Andrew says, okay, but I'm still going to live my life and whatever differently than how Andrew does. Okay,
what do you disagree
can
with
still both of these things can be true at the same time without any problem. Now back to my question.
Wait, what do you disagree with?
Now it's my turn.
I just want to know. I've never talked to a member of the Orthodoxy
I just
before.
answered your question. Now,
let him ask the question.
I have to catch up on my religious history before I can challenge these big brain points.
Yeah, so now, kind of back to my question. Yes, there's only two churches which have actual holistic views. So Protestants, generally speaking, do not, and they actually concede that they don't because they can't. Now, when you're talking about Christian nationalism in and of itself, of course, I would always advocate for my church to be the church that was, cooperating with the government, or even in some cases being the government if necessary. But you yourself would advocate for the same thing with your communism. You don't want MAGA communism. You don't want tanky communism. You want Vaush brand. You want Vaush brand communism. So the criticism applies to you as much as it applies to me.
Andrew, is there a question there though?
I have no idea.
Andrew,
so
loser.
The question becomes: is that not true?
Okay.
That different people have different ideas. Yes, I've noticed that happen sometimes in my day.
Yeah, so you would advocate for your brand of this. So whatever criticism you want to give me for the fact that there's tons of sects of Christianity, this also is true of communism. You have to contend with that as much as I do.
Well, there aren't any sects of communism. There are different ideas, sure. But I guess like my curiosity would be,
what do you mean they're not sects? What's a sect?
I think that sect is a
yeah, of course you wouldn't know what sex is, Andrew. You never had them. Okay, stop.
Religious term, is it not? Does it just refer broadly to like different groups?
Okay, I'm being very immature
right now. If that's the case, sure, there are plenty of sects of communism.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
He said
sex.
I don't know what this was in response to. I guess the issue is that I still have no idea what your like fundamental ethical basis is. I think that the human.
What is Christian? Then tell me what Christian ethics are.
How the should I know? All of you have different ideas. You're all like completely incoherent every time I talk to a Christian, so I have no idea. I will never know. I don't think. I asked you and you got mad at me, so I feel like
no, I didn't get mad at you. I explained them to you.
So okay, where does your divine command theory come from?
God.
Okay, how do you know your God is the correct one?
Well, regardless, even if I was wrong, let's just assume for a second I was completely wrong and my God was not the correct one.
How do you know God is the correct
of Christian nationalism?
He doesn't know.
I think
he doesn't know.
Both the
he's driving in the blind. He's driving in the dark. He's driving in the dark. He's driving in the dark.
Regardless of even if all of the beliefs from which I derive divine command would be false, the integration with the state would still be what I would advocate for, just like you, the communist. Even if your beliefs are fundamentally false, based on nothing more than your ideas, you still want to integrate them and see them in society. So we're not here to have a religious debate over whether God is real. We're here to have a debate over whether or not Christian nationalism is something that can even be done. I propose that it is, and I propose that the ideas are better than your communist outlook, which we're much closer to than we are a Christian outlook.
God willing, inshallah. Yes, of course. So again, how do you know that your God is real? Like, how do you know that you have the right set of moral precepts?
What is that? If you can tell me what this has to do with the topic of the debate, I'll engage with it.
It's literally the foundational position.
I can't believe he actually left the fortress for this. Actually, I think it was Andrew Wilson that put him back into the fortress. Okay, if anything.
Position of your entire ethical system.
Okay, well then, how do you know communism is true?
Okay, sure. I mean, we can talk about my ethical system. So, as a utilitarian, I believe in maximizing a set of axioms that I've arbitrarily determined to be things that I prioritize. I think that you could use.
So you don't know it's true.
I don't think you can make metaphysical assessments.
Well, then why are you asking me what's true?
Because I'm not making a determinative statement about my metaphysical.
Is anything ever true?
No, wait, hold. Well, I mean, that really depends on what you mean by true. But you're the one making.
So can you know objective truth? Can you know something is 100% true? You know that.
It really depends on the definitions. You'd have to define all of the terms. But also, you're the one. The legitimacy of your claims sort of rests upon the idea that your moral beliefs, your duties, your precepts, your obligations, or whatever, are ones that I should respect. Whereas my axioms are things like human happiness, which I challenge you. If you don't respect things like human happiness, I would argue that you don't even have a right to be dictating policy for anybody because
is this true?
You just said that your system is arbitrary. So why should I respect an arbitrary system that doesn't even claim to have any sort of command other than what you come up with out of your own brain as a preference?
This is like you getting upset with somebody else because you're arguing that their decisions aren't even made by the invisible friend that you have. Like, this isn't a battle.
Who are your decisions made by? You?
So, do you believe that human happiness is a worthwhile goal in terms of maximization?
I think that happiness is something that should be adjusted for, but it's not the primary duty of people to make other people happy.
Adjusted for. Okay. So do you think that a world in which people are happier is a better world than a world in which people are less happy, all other things being equal?
If all things were equal, I would say that if you had a happier population, that would be better than not having a happier population. Yes, than a less happy population with all things equal. Now, let me ask that question back to you. Okay, if all things were equal and people prospered, but they were less happy than a nation that prospered less and that nation was happier, which nation would you prefer to prosper? Which one would you prefer to live in?
What do you mean by prosper?
So their health is better.
Imagine how insufferable his wife must be put up to the shit daily. Well, that's assuming that he has a good wife, okay? But considering how his wife is Rachel Wilson, I think that they enable each other's bullshit.
Their dynamics are better. Almost everything's better. They're just a little bit less happy than the other nation.
A little bit less happy?
Just a little bit less.
Well, I feel like those things would kind of be factored into the happiness. But if you're arguing like people are
I just said all
happier,
things equal, Vaush. I answered your question in good faith, answered mine in good faith. If all things are equal, one population is just slightly less happy, but the other population by every other metric is doing better than the population that's just slightly less happy.
That's not all other things.
It's your moral imperative to go to the population which is less happy.
You can't.
Yeah,
you
can't the hypothetical all things equal.
You can't say all things equal and then say every other thing is different.
You can't ask me the same question.
Wait, hold on. I'm answering your question.
This is the most bad faith debate tactics I've ever seen.
Oh my God, I'm answering your question. You're so like right off the cuff. You're so ready to be triggered.
Then do it.
I was just pointing out it's funny that you would say all things be equal, but then you would say okay, every other thing is different. I guess that would. I guess I'm just struggling to imagine. But if it's like they're much healthier and more prosperous, I guess I think it would really depend on other circumstances because there are other axiomatic values that I think you could adjust for.
So then happiness is not the primary value. So then shut up, Vaush. Your argument's stupid. Your argument's stupid.
So no, it's one of them. That's why I said axioms with an S. There are multiple things that you would try to adjust.
So why tell me, Andrew, we can't accept your system because it doesn't make happiness the primary thing. And then when I give you the same exact example back, you also claim happiness can't be the primary thing.
I didn't say that.
Multitudes of things that you have to adjust for, Vaush.
Okay, so what are the multitudes of things for you? What divine?
So I would look at virtues. I would look at duties.
What's a virtue?
I would look at outcomes. I would look at all of these as a holistic.
Outcomes is
as a holistic.
So you notice how every time I ask you for specific questions about what it is you're trying to do or what changes you're trying to make, you sort of generalize by waving your hands at this broad, vague, indeterminable like group of virtues that you probably don't actually subscribe to or believe in. Early on in this debate, you pointed
to which virtues do you think I don't subscribe to?
You haven't listed any, so I can't.
You haven't even asked me what they are.
I have. I've been asking, dude. You can't be like, bro. You didn't even ask. I've been asking for like half an hour for you to give me some understanding.
You say, give me a broad overview, and when I do, you say, no. Why didn't you give me anything more specific?
This is like pulling teeth, man. It's just like you're at the dentist, and this is like trying to pull teeth without like anesthetic.
What outcome? This is so
specific.
Like being forced to debate Andrew Wilson should be should be registered under cruel and unusual punishment because that is the best way I can describe this bullshit.
To be fair, Andrew did say about banning abortion. That's one he gave, and the second one he gave is I know there was one.
Once you've seen him debate, once you've seen every debate he's ever had, yeah, true. Yeah, just search up any of the Destiny versus Andrew Wilson shit. It's one and the same, copy and paste. What is it? Control-C, Control-V?
Or something about...
So those are policy positions, but why is the question?
Asked for those too. I've answered every question you've had, and you've been as evasive as possible.
So why?
Wait, if you're Daniel Misses all, then what happened to the original Daniel Miss? What the fuck? What'd you do to him? Did you eat him?
Are these things virtues? What is a virtue? Give me an example. Policies to maximize what?
So if you're talking about virtues themselves,
no, it's to maximize God, okay? It's to maximize God as a resource, okay? That's what's being maximized right now. It's being used to maximize God, okay? Whatever the fuck that means.
When you were talking about virtue as morality, virtues are the building blocks of what makes a person a person. So we're looking at the actual behaviors of the person to judge whether or not the person is moral. That would be a virtue.
Okay.
So I can give you many of those types of virtues. I think you would likely agree with them.
Dude, and then you always have like Andrew Wilson's like fans like brigading whatever the fuck like you just debated him on, and they're always like, I'm sorry, but Andrew is clearly in the correct here. The reason why he's in the correct is because you simply have no argument. So by default, the person who has the argument wins the debate. And I think that Andrew wins the debate and crushed you. God, and every single comment from his fans are like that. It's just, and they brigade like this. It's insane.
But with the virtue in Christian ethics comes duty. So you have a duty, for instance, to obey Lord Jesus Christ's teachings. You have duties to do these things.
And then whenever like I make a video smack talking Andrew Wilson, they're always like, aren't you the person who debated Andrew Wilson 3 years ago and lost the debate? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. What does that have to do with anything with the commentary I'm giving?
As well. So these things work together.
Like, okay.
The church itself has given virtues which are passed down from Christ Lord, who explains what these virtues are supposed to be and how you are supposed to act and behave in society and how you're supposed to act and behave towards other people or untowards to other people.
And why should we
under your system? Why should I listen to yours? It's the same criticism.
Okay, so I keep answering this, and I don't think. No, please, you can't keep misunderstanding my position.
Same answer because it's axiomatic.
So that's not what I was going to say. You don't even understand.
That's what your answer was. Your answer was just that it's axiomatic.
You have to earn the right to be blasé and dismissive about another person's ideas. You have to know what they are first. So the difference is, I don't think you can make determinative claims about the metaphysical. I think that in order to have any ethical system, you have to admit that there is a degree of arbitrarity and bias, and you have to work from that. The problem that I have with divine command theory is not that it's metaphysical in nature, because so is mine.
Just a reminder that this meant to be a debate about this meant to be a debate about birth rates, dude. Does anybody remember that this debate was about birth rates? Anybody remember that? You know, birth rate debate. Okay. Moderator? Is there even a moderator here? Who's that dude on the bottom? What the fuck? Hello? Am I missing something?
The difference is that I acknowledge the arbitrary, something I think everyone has to.
Why would that make it better?
So you have to let me finish, because you make it up. So it's like the difference.
So do you.
So no, there's a huge difference.
It's the same criticism applied.
No,
so
please,
do you.
Andrew, you are so ready to
Oh, don't you understand that science is also a religion? Type shit.
interrupt, okay? So there is a huge difference.
Well, otherwise you'll go on a diatribe for the next year.
You could learn from it. There is a huge difference between saying, I don't think we can make determinative metaphysical statements. However, I do think that
is that a determinative statement?
Please.
Andrew, let's let Vaush finish this point, and then you can respond.
Go ahead.
However, if we decide to prioritize these things, I think it's good for people. So, for example, I don't think it's possible to objectively. Yes, that's the point. The difference is I'm the one 10,000 years ago who says I don't know why the lightning strikes, and you're the one who says that it must be because the gods are angry. You make fun of me for not being willing to make a statement you can't justify, but that's your weakness in my logic.
True.
So I can acknowledge
you don't have any logic.
Weakness of metaphysical arguments, and I think it's a necessary presupposition when discussing ethics. Your arguments rely on a presumptive statement about the metaphysical God that you can't justify, and that is the critical difference. If you ask me, how do you know that human happiness is good to prioritize for? I would answer, you know what? I don't think I can objectively prove that. I think I can gesture at what human happiness has done for the world.
So then you have nothing.
And I think that it makes people better. I think that it improves things.
So then you.
Whereas
I want to tell you.
I'm almost done. You keep trying to like jump in.
Okay, so when you're almost done, how much longer does that mean?
Do you want me to give you a timer?
I'll give him another 30 seconds, and I'll let you interrupt.
Yeah. So where the difference with you is that for your positions to make sense, you're referring to like.
Why is he smoking? You know why he smokes cigarettes? It's because God told him so, okay? Divine command theory. Got him, bitch. Libtard.
The word of God, you have to explain why that should be listened to. My argument for why my axioms are relevant is to gesture at the world and say, is happiness not good? That's the most I can do. Yours is to say, well, you also can't prove your axioms, which I know. That's the point. But you have to prove yours, because otherwise you're essentially engaging in like a postmodernist defense of not believing in God while repeating his suppositions. It makes no sense.
As stated before, and you just demonstrated, any criticism you move towards me is equally applied to you. You just got done stating that your system is arbitrary. Let me finish. That your system is arbitrary, that your system is not.
Oh, yes. And ironically enough, Andrew Wilson is actually making Vaush's argument, okay? But of a different type, right? Do you guys remember like water is agua? It's actually agua in Mexico type shit. Like basically Andrew Wilson is saying, well, according to your framework, objective truth does not exist, or objective objective goodness or objective badness does not exist, right? Or whatever the fuck, right? I think, yeah, I think that's what he's saying. And essentially he's saying, well, according to your framework, they mean nothing. But then Vaush is ironically arguing Destiny's position, which is like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess, but at the same time, we can still point to situations and we can point towards things that are like good or bad, right? Like we can still describe things as good or bad without the necessity of like divine command theory or anything, right? So ironically enough, like Andrew Wilson is taking up the Vaush position, while like Vaush is taking up the destiny position in this one. Not the destiny, but the professor, right? The professor opinion for the Agua debate, but yeah, stupid.
Grounded that you yourself and your axioms cannot be demonstrated while demanding that I demonstrate mine. However, if I'm going from your worldview, which I'm just trying to do, I'm just trying to go from your worldview, the utilitarian worldview, I still can make a better case for why Christian ethics in society is far superior to your libertarian communism, and have made good arguments for why that is the case, even just using birth rates, and you have refuted none of it. This is a joke. By the way,
I usually don't watch old shit at all. I don't. I always keep up with like recent news and whatever. But this debate, I guess, became more relevant in my eyes. Just simply because Andrew Wilson has been popping up on like Joe Rogan, and he's been popping up on big like Dude Bro podcasts and whatever. So that's why I felt it was relevant to cover, because like you guys need to understand that there's one debate right now that is just like should just display to you like how bad faith this guy is. Like there's one debate that should show you how like stupid and bad at debating he is, and it's this debate. Andrew Wilson looks like a fucking retard in this one, okay? So yeah, that's why like we have to point this one out, because this one, like, you can't defend this, bro. You can't defend this unless you clip chimp it, okay? If you clip chimp it, then like fine, you can make him look good. But like that's what his fans do, okay, for this debate, I think. But like, dude, like Andrew Wilson looks like a clown in this one. I'm gonna be honest, okay? Anyway, okay, I'm gonna end stream now.